Welcome back to Women of Worth, the podcast dedicated to growth, self-discovery, and empowering women to live authentically. Today, we're diving into a powerful topic that can transform your life: embracing change and letting go of what no longer serves you. How many times have you found yourself holding on to relationships, habits, or even mindsets that only weigh you down? Letting go isn't easy, but it's often exactly what we need to open ourselves up to new possibilities and a lighter, more fulfilling life. In this episode, we'll discuss what it truly means to release what's holding you back, how to identify things that no longer serve you, and why embracing change is so essential for personal growth. We'll share practical advice, real-life examples, and even insights from the Bible on letting go and stepping forward with faith. By the end, you'll feel inspired to welcome change and embrace the freedom that comes from living without unnecessary baggage. If you're ready to lighten your load and step into a life of growth and renewal, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe to our channel, and tap the notification bell so you don't miss future episodes. And we'd love to hear from you. Share your thoughts in the comments below, or let us know what topics you'd like to see next as we continue building this community of strong, empowered women. Now, let's get started and explore how we can all begin to embrace change and let go of what no longer serves us.
Ever feel like you're stuck? Like something's holding you back, but you can't quite put your finger on it.
Oh, absolutely.
We hear you. And today, we're going to unpack that feeling.
Yeah.
Explore how to really release what's no longer serving us so we can finally embrace change.
Yeah.
Especially as women navigating a world, with all its expectations for us.
Mm-hmm.
So we're diving deep today into this super insightful article, all about letting go and embracing change, specifically, tailored for women.
I love it.
What's so fascinating is how this feeling of being stuck can often come from what we're clinging to, rather than what's actually holding us down.
It's almost like we're carrying a backpack full of rocks. You might think you need them, but they're weighing you down.
That's such a great visual. And the article emphasizes that letting go isn't about erasing the past at all.
Right.
It's about recognizing that certain things, they've served their purpose,
right,
but they might not be contributing to our growth anymore.
Like a snake shedding its skin. It doesn't deny its past, but it moves forward.
Right.
It embraces a new phase.
Okay, so how do we actually figure out what's no longer serving us? The article gives really relatable examples.
Okay.
Like that job that just drains you.
Yep.
That friendship that feels more like an obligation.
Totally.
Or even just that self-doubt.
Yeah.
That whispers, you can't.
Those are all such great starting points. I think a powerful question to ask yourself is, what makes you feel lighter just thinking about letting it go? If something consistently drains your energy or brings you down, that's a signal to pay attention to.
Yeah, that's a good point. So once we identify those things that need to go, how do we actually let them go?
Well, the article outlines some practical steps.
Okay.
One of the first is practicing self-compassion. We often beat ourselves up for holding on to things, but that only adds more weight to that metaphorical backpack.
Right. It's like we're carrying the rocks and ourselves up for it.
Exactly.
The article also stresses starting small. There's no need to just overhaul your entire life overnight.
Exactly. Start with something manageable, like creating a boundary in a relationship. Or finally tackling that overflowing closet that's been bugging you.
Oh, yeah.
Small changes can create a ripple effect.
I totally agree. I remember finally cleaning out my junk drawer.
Yes.
And it was like this sense of order just spread to other areas of my life.
It's amazing how those small, tangible actions can shift our energy and mindset. And don't underestimate the power of visualization either. Imagine yourself literally releasing that weight you're carrying, watching a leaf float away on a stream.
Ooh, I like that. That makes me think of this powerful quote from Isaiah. It says, "Forget the former things. Do not dwell on the past. See, I'm doing a new thing."
Oh, I love that verse.
It's so good.
It beautifully reminds us that God makes all things new. He's not holding on to our past mistakes, so why should we? Letting go allows us to embrace the fresh starts he's constantly offering.
Yeah. It's so easy to get caught up in the loss aspect of letting go.
Yeah.
But the article reminds us that change isn't just about loss. It's about opening ourselves up to incredible possibilities.
Exactly. And that's where letting go and embracing change become intertwined. We can't fully step into the new if we're still gripping the old. It's like trying to sail forward while dragging an anchor behind you.
Yeah. You're not going to get very far that way. Let's be real. Change can be scary. What if someone's feeling resistant to all of this?
It's totally natural to feel fear when faced with change.
Yeah.
But the article encourages us to consider, the cost of staying the same.
Yeah.
Sometimes that fear of the unknown traps us in situations that aren't truly serving us anymore.
It's like settling for a dimly lit room when there's a whole world of sunshine waiting outside.
Exactly. So true. Remember to focus on your why. Why is this change important to you? What do you hope to gain? Having a clear purpose can help you navigate the uncertainty of change.
Yeah, that's such good advice. The article also suggests breaking down the change into smaller steps. Instead of trying to climb a mountain all at once, just focus on taking one step at a time.
That's a great way to make the journey feel less overwhelming. Sometimes the most profound changes come from those small, consistent steps.
Now, one thing that can be particularly difficult to let go of is a relationship, especially one that's been a big part of our lives.
Absolutely. Letting go of someone who no longer serves you can be incredibly painful.
Right.
But it's essential to remember that grief is a natural part of the process. You're allowed to feel sad, even when you know it's for the best.
I remember a while back having to let go of a friendship that just wasn't healthy anymore.
Mm-hmm.
It was heartbreaking at the time, but I kept reminding myself of something I'd read.
Okay.
Sometimes letting go is an act of love, both for yourself and for the other person.
That's such a powerful insight, and often that act of letting go creates space for new, more supportive relationships to come into your life.
It totally did for me. It was like closing a door on a chapter that had run its course and opening another to a whole new world of friendships and connections.
What's fascinating about letting go, even when it's painful, is that it often leads us to experiences and relationships we might never have discovered otherwise.
So true. Sometimes those closed doors lead to the most unexpected and beautiful detours.
We've been talking about how to identify and release what's no longer serving us, and I'm curious, what's resonating with you so far?
I think a lot of women can relate to that feeling of being weighed down by things they're clinging to, whether it's relationships or, negative self-talk or even just too much stuff.
Right.
The article we're discussing today it offers a great insight into that.
Right.
And one thing that really struck me is how it dives into the subtle things that we might be holding on to that aren't serving us anymore.
Yes. It goes beyond the obvious, toxic relationships.
Right.
And it delves into things like limiting beliefs, unhealthy habits. Those can be so sneaky.
Right.
Because they often disguise themselves as being realistic or even protecting ourselves.
Yeah, it's like those limiting beliefs. They whisper you're not good enough.
Right.
Or you'll never be able to do that.
Right.
And if we listen to them long enough, we start to believe them.
And then when we believe those negative thoughts, we limit our potential.
Yeah.
It's like we're putting ourselves in a cage of our own making. The article suggests using journaling to help identify those recurring negative thoughts and then to start to reframe them.
Journaling can be such a powerful tool for self-discovery.
It is.
It helps you get those thoughts out of your head and onto paper where you can examine them more objectively.
And once you see those limiting beliefs in black and white, you can start to challenge them.
Yeah.
Ask yourself, is this thought really true?
Right.
What evidence do I have to support it?
Yeah.
Is there a more empowering way to look this situation?
It's like shining a light on those shadowy thoughts.
Right.
And seeing them for what they are.
Exactly.
Often just fear, dressed up as fact.
Exactly. So we've talked about toxic relationships and limiting beliefs.
Right.
What are some other less obvious things the article suggests we might need to let go of?
Well, clutter is a big one.
Clutter, yes.
Both physical and mental. We tend to focus on the physical clutter, like that overflowing closet, piles of papers.
Right.
But mental clutter can be just as draining.
It's true, that mental clutter, the constant to-do lists, worries, negative self-talk.
It can be exhausting.
It can be exhausting. It zaps your energy, makes it hard to focus on what truly matters.
The article even draws a connection between physical clutter and feeling stuck or stagnant in other areas of life.
Yeah.
That's saying outer order, inner calm.
It's amazing how much our physical space can impact our mental and emotional well-being.
Totally.
When our surroundings are cluttered and chaotic, it's harder to find that inner peace and clarity.
I know for me, decluttering my physical space always creates this sense of lightness. It's like I'm clearing out not just stuff,
Right.
but stagnant energy as well.
Totally.
And then there are unhealthy habits, something I think most of us struggle with in some way.
Unhealthy habits, whether it's overworking, neglecting self-care, those late-night snacking sessions can really chip away at our well-being.
It's so easy to fall into those patterns,
Yeah.
especially when we're stressed or feeling overwhelmed.
The key is to become aware of those habits and identify the triggers that lead to them. What situations or emotions make you more likely to engage in those behaviors?
Yeah.
Once you know your trigger, you can start to develop healthier coping mechanisms.
So if you know you tend to stress, eat, maybe instead of reaching for that bag of chips, you go for a walk or call a friend to vent.
Yeah.
It's about finding healthier ways to deal with those difficult emotions.
Exactly. And remember, creating new habits takes time and effort.
Yeah.
Be patient with yourself, celebrate the small wins, and don't give up if you have a setback.
Speaking of letting go, the article gets into the actual process of releasing what's no longer serving us.
Okay.
It can feel overwhelming to think about, like getting rid of everything. So where do we even begin?
The article suggests starting with the physical, decluttering our space. It's a tangible way to kind of kickstart the process of letting go and can create a sense of spaciousness and clarity.
I love that idea.
Yeah.
It's like literally making space for something new to enter our lives.
Exactly. And you don't have to go all Marie Kondo on your entire house at once. Start with a drawer, a shelf, even just that corner of your bedroom where things tend to pile up.
As you're decluttering, the article recommends asking yourself a few key questions.
Okay.
Like, does this spark joy? Or do I really need this?
Those questions can help you make decisions about what to keep and what to let go of. And remember, letting go doesn't have to mean throwing things away.
Right.
Donating or selling unwanted items can be a great way to give those belongings a new life and prevent waste.
It can feel so good to declutter and simplify. It's like you're freeing up not just physical space, but mental and emotional space as well.
That feeling of release can be incredibly empowering.
Yeah.
It reminds you that you have the power to choose what you allow into your life.
Right.
Both physically and mentally.
Okay, so we've tackled decluttering our physical space. What about those less tangible things?
Like negative thoughts, unhealthy habits, those things we carry around internally.
That's where the inner work comes in. The article suggests several techniques for releasing those internal burdens, like setting boundaries, challenging negative thoughts, and practicing forgiveness.
Setting boundaries, especially in relationships, is crucial.
It is.
You know, it's about knowing what you're willing to tolerate and what you're not, and communicating those limits clearly and respectfully.
Boundaries are all about honoring your own needs. And protecting your energy.
Yeah.
It's not selfish to set boundaries.
Right.
It's actually an act of self-care.
Right.
When you set healthy boundaries, you create relationships that are more balanced and supportive.
And what about challenging those pesky negative thoughts?
Oh, they can be so persistent.
They can be so persistent.
But remember, you don't have to believe every thought that pops into your head.
Right.
You have the power to choose which thoughts you want to focus on. The article emphasizes that we are not our thoughts.
Yes.
Thoughts are just thoughts, not necessarily facts.
Exactly. And the more you practice observing your thoughts without judgment, the easier it becomes to detach from those negative thoughts and choose thoughts that are more positive, empowering, and supportive of your goals.
It's like we're training our minds to focus on the good.
Yes.
Even when things are tough.
And that's such a powerful skill to cultivate.
Yeah.
It allows you to experience more peace and joy, even amidst life's inevitable challenges.
We've talked about setting boundaries, challenging negative thoughts.
Right.
But forgiveness is a biggie too.
Forgiveness. Oh, yeah.
How does that factor into letting go?
Forgiveness is essential for releasing resentment and anger, both towards ourselves and others. It doesn't mean condoning hurtful behavior, but it allows us to free ourselves from the emotional baggage of the past.
The article makes a great point. Forgiveness is more about ourselves than the other person.
Yes.
It's about choosing to let go of the pain so we can move on with a lighter heart.
And sometimes the most challenging person to forgive is ourselves.
Oh, so true.
We can be so hard on ourselves
Yeah.
for past mistakes or choices we wish we had made differently.
Self-forgiveness is so important.
It is.
You know, it's about recognizing that we're all human, we all make mistakes, and we're all doing the best we can with what we know at the time.
It's about offering ourselves the same grace and compassion we would extend to a loved one.
Letting go of things like guilt and self-blame can be a deep process.
It can.
And it's important to approach it with gentleness and self-compassion. But what about when it comes to letting go of a person? Like, that can be one of the hardest things to do.
It's true. Letting go of someone, especially someone who's been a significant part of your life, can be incredibly painful. The article acknowledges that and offers some really helpful guidance for navigating that process with grace and compassion.
One thing it suggests is acknowledging the purpose of that relationship, even if it's no longer serving you in the present. Like, what did you learn from that person? What did they bring into your life?
That's such a valuable perspective. It's about honoring the role that person played in your journey, even as you recognize it's time to move on. And it's essential to allow yourself to grieve that loss, It's okay to feel sad, angry, or even confused.
Grief is a natural part of any loss. And letting go of a relationship is no exception. It's about allowing yourself to feel those emotions fully without judging yourself for it.
Exactly. And as you move through the grieving process, remember that letting go is not a failure. It's actually an act of courage and self-love.
Choosing what's best for you, even when it's difficult, is incredibly powerful. Sometimes the most loving thing you can do for yourself and for the other person is to let go.
And as you let go, you create space for new connections that align with who you are now and what you need in this season of your life. It's about trusting that there are people out there who will love and support you in ways that are healthy and fulfilling.
We've talked a lot about the how of letting go, but the article also emphasizes the importance of letting go gracefully. What does that look like in practice?
Well, it starts with trusting in timing. It's understanding that some things aren't meant to last forever.
That's such a good point. It's like realizing that some chapters in our lives are meant to be shorter than others.
Exactly. Letting go gracefully is about recognizing that there's a natural rhythm to life, seasons of growth, change, and yes, letting go. Embracing that rhythm can make the process feel less like a loss and more like a natural transition.
It's like surrendering to the flow of life, trusting that you're exactly where you're supposed to be in each moment.
And that surrender can be so liberating. It frees you from the need to control everything and allows you to trust that things are unfolding as they should, even if you can't see the bigger picture just yet.
We've touched on forgiveness, but the article really emphasizes its role in letting go gracefully, both forgiving yourself and others.
Forgiving someone who has hurt you can be incredibly difficult, but it's vital for your own healing and peace of mind. It's about releasing the anger and resentment you might be carrying and choosing to move forward with compassion and understanding.
It's not about condoning the behavior. It's about choosing to release the pain so you can move on with a lighter heart.
And remember, sometimes the hardest person to forgive is yourself. We can be so tough on ourselves for past mistakes or things we wish we had done differently.
Self-forgiveness is so powerful. It's recognizing that we're all human, we all make mistakes, and we're all doing the best we can with what we know at the time.
It's about giving yourself the same grace and compassion you would extend to a friend going through a similar situation. And when you forgive yourself, you create space for self-acceptance and wholeness.
I love that. That sense of wholeness allows us to move forward with more confidence and clarity.
Now, even with all of this, letting go can still be a struggle. What's fascinating is how often the struggle isn't about the thing itself, but about what we think letting go means.
That's a great point. What do you mean by that?
Well, we might worry that letting go means we're failing or that we're somehow less worthy. But the truth is, letting go is often an act of strength and self-respect. It's about choosing what's best for you, even if it means releasing something that's no longer aligned with your values or your vision for your life.
The article uses a great analogy. It's like holding onto a helium balloon. The tighter you grip it, the more it wants to fly away. But if you open your hand, you allow it to rise and fulfill its purpose. Letting go doesn't mean the balloon was never important. It means you're trusting it to soar.
Beautifully put. And I think it's also important to remember that letting go doesn't have to mean cutting something out of your life completely sometimes. It's about redefining the role it plays.
What do you mean?
Maybe it's that friend who's always needing advice, but never seems to take it. Letting go might mean loving them from a bit of a distance, setting boundaries around how much energy you invest in that relationship, or maybe it's a hobby you've outgrown. Letting go could look like finding a new way to express that creative energy.
It's like realizing that some things are meant for certain seasons of our lives, and it's okay to let them evolve as we do.
And when we shift our focus from what we're losing to what we're gaining, letting go can become an exciting opportunity for growth and transformation.
It's like closing one chapter and opening another, filled with possibilities and potential.
And remember, as you step into this new chapter, You don't have to do it alone. Surround yourself with supportive people, whether it's friends, family, a therapist, or a spiritual community.
Having a support system can make all the difference, especially when you're navigating big changes. It's a reminder that you're not alone on this journey.
Absolutely. And remember, the article we've been discussing is just one resource for this journey. There are so many books, podcasts, and communities out there dedicated to helping women embrace change and create lives that are truly fulfilling.
It's so inspiring to see how many women are choosing to let go of what's no longer serving them and create lives that are aligned with their values and their dreams.
It's a beautiful movement, and I think it's a message that resonates deeply with so many women today.
Well, before we wrap up this incredible deep dive, let's recap some of the key takeaways for our listeners. You are not defined by what you let go of. Letting go isn't a sign of weakness. It's an act of courage and self-love. Change is a process, not a destination. Be patient with yourself. Celebrate those small victories and keep moving forward one step at a time. There is power in recognizing what's no longer serving you and taking steps to release it. You deserve a life that is full of joy, peace, and fulfillment.
And to leave you with a final thought-provoking question, what is one small step you can take today to begin embracing change in your own life?
We'd love to hear your thoughts, your struggles, and your victories in the comments below. Let's create a supportive community where we can encourage and uplift each other on this incredible journey of growth and transformation.
Don't forget to subscribe to The Deep Dive for more insightful conversations on topics that matter to you. And if there's a particular challenge you're facing or a topic you'd like us to explore in a future episode, let us know. We're always looking for new ways to support you.
We encourage you to like, subscribe, and share it with someone who might also find it valuable. Thanks for joining us on The Deep Dive. Until next time, keep shining.